Alright. Water's boiling. We're going to add some soy. Roughly about half a cup, I think. It's a little bit over half a cup. Maybe a cup of soy. That's going to really inflate because this thing is dry, and when we actually cook it, it really inflates, and it takes it makes a huge amount of gas. It's very gassy. One of the reasons people don't like eating soy is because of the gas problem. Nobody likes gas. We're going to let that boil for as long as we can, and we're going to make some tacos out of it, and we're going to fry it, and we're not going to make pasta. I decided to make tortillas. So, the menu for today is soy tacos and fried potatoes, and we're going to make some Jamaica, some good Jamaica water, and that's it. And let me make some preparations, and I'll show you the rest of it. Maybe bath water's ready. We gotta go turn it off. I love these long shots. Do you like these long shots, Kat? Are you ready? I should have some type of tool to put this camera either on my head, or the third eye, or on my chest. That would be cool, so that I don't have to really worry about holding it in my hand, and I can just concentrate on doing what I need to do and showing it. Anyways, water's turned off. Okay, I want to demonstrate one of the biggest problems of cooking soy, which is that it creates a huge amount of bubbles. These bubbles do tend to fall into the stove if you don't move them around a little bit to make sure that they move. But you got to cook all those bubbles out of the soy, because that's what makes you fart. That's the fart stuff. And look, I'm gonna let it boil a little bit so you see what's happening there. Whoa, that's soy for you. That's fart medicine right there. And it's full of it, because soy, for some strange reason, holds a lot of, I guess it's gas. I don't know what it is. And you gotta boil it all out of it. Otherwise, your soy won't be any good. And you gotta boil it for a nice long while. You can make the fire a little, once you actually got the water boiling, you can bring the fire down a bit. Whoa! Not so much. Another solution is to add fresh water, which is kind of hard because in this case, the pot is very small. The big pot is being used for the milk. I need to get another big pot. We need the big pot. Yeah. See, that brings the bubbles down a bit. That brings the temperature down. Temperature comes down. The bubbles get a little bit better. So there we go. All right, we've chopped up about 6 potatoes. This is going to be our main plate. Vegetarian plate. This is a vegetarian food being made for vegetarians. Well, for one vegetarian. 6 potatoes, cut, roughly about yay size. These are the French fries. And they will be going in this huge old pan. And this pan has been coated with a nice, oily coat with about a 1/4 inch of oil on the pan. Look at my soy. My soy is still coming out with these bubbles. When there are no more bubbles, the soy is ready, more or less, to be fried, because soy needs to be first boiled and then fried. Whoa! That's still, look at that. Bubbly soy. I'm going to have to clean Mom's stove after this little experiment. it's almost ready. The bubbles are starting to disappear. They're still coming up, but a lot less. You gotta bring the heat down so that they don't drop so much. Oh shit. Bring the heat down a little bit. You know, cooking is an art. It's probably the best art of all because it's the one that gives people food. Now I put it on really low heat, and I'm going to keep boiling it until all those bubbles disappear. That will mean that it will no longer make you fart. Alright, got the oil, got the potatoes, the beans, the leftover beans. What is left of the leftover beans is roughly enough for 1 or 2 tacos. So we're going to make them separately. This we're going to use for the soy to give it at least some flavor other than what it has. And we're going to chop it up in a minute. We're going to make the Jamaica water, which I better start doing now because otherwise we won't have time. And we got the salt, the what do you call it, garlic powder for the soy. We got salt, and of course the key ingredient, which is Maggi sauce or soy sauce, whichever you have available. I'm going to use those garlics. I don't really feel like using those garlics, but there, that's the deal there. And that's my cat who just came in to eat. And yeah, okay, let's put in pause and we'll be ready in a second. And now our tortilla situation. We don't have that many tortillas left. I think we have about a dozen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tortillas. We're fine. 18 tortillas are more than enough for 2 big adults and one child. So let's make first the bean taco. You know, if you look at the women cooking in Mexico, you will notice that all of them pretty much use their hands with the hot oil, which is very daring. It is an acquired taste to do that, and you gotta 2 tacos out of that. Well, you gotta make sure not to burn yourself when you do that. I think most Mexican mothers have quite a few burn you know, scars where they have tried to, very difficult to do with one hand, where they have tried to not burn themselves and they end up burning themselves, you know, working with hot oil and tortillas. Hot oil and tortillas is what it's all about in Mexico. You can use a knife, but then you get little problems like that scratch that I just did over there. Get another tortilla. Precursor. It's going to be 2 pre-fried beans. I guess technically they're not called tacos, they're called quesadillas. But they don't have any cheese, so they're not really quesadillas. We could use my sister's cheese, but, you know, it's her cheese, and I don't want to use it without her permission. And maybe put a little bit of cheese in there to make it interesting. But I'm not gonna. Oh, here we go. Here's a pretty useful tool for tortillas, especially if you're cooking with one hand in hot oil. It's just a dangerous thing to do. Children, remember, hot oil burns, and you got to be extremely careful with it because hot oil. I know a little girl, my age, well, she's a big woman now, who was playing around the kitchen with the hot oil, and there was some fried, look, see that? That soy is ready to be fried, and we're going to fry it in a second. So let's turn this heat off. Anyways, the little girl was playing with a Actually, it was not hot oil. It was boiling water. It was boiling water. Now that I remember correctly, she was in the kitchen playing around. Her mom told her, "Don't play in the kitchen. Don't come to the kitchen. We're cooking. Blah blah blah." And guess what? She dropped the soup, the hot soup, boiling soup, on her body. She was around 5 years old, and she burned, I believe, 1/3 of her body. 1/3 of her body suffered third-degree burns. So the kitchen is not a place to play. It's a place to really take care of stuff. Otherwise, you die. From food poisoning to... These are going to be not very oily. These are actually, for me, that's why I didn't make them too oily. But we should put more oil on that pan so the tortilla is all crispy and shit. This is my lunch while I wait for the girls. Soy is ready. We're going to fry the soy next. And we're going to fry it in this pan. Actually, no, we're going to fry it in this pan. We're going to fry it in another pan. It's going to be our tortilla pan. Let me do that and we'll continue. The taco is a particularly open dish. Basically, it's a fried tortilla with something inside. In this case, we have leftover beans from probably last century, which I will eat myself because it's not really consumable for the child. But to give them a little flavor, we're going to try the all-American wonder, mayonnaise. Mayonnaise and beans go well together. They make for an interesting combination. If you're black or Mexican, you probably don't want to do this. But if you're an old gringo like me, it's perfectly acceptable to put mayonnaise on your tacos, your bean tacos. Okay, let's see here. That, by the way, is not a racist thing. That is just an observation of human nature. Not because we observe human nature, we're going to be racist, are we? Right. Speaking of observations of human nature, my dad wanted to make a rainbow family, which he got, got 3 out of 6 is not too bad. He wanted the black baby, the yellow baby, the brown baby, the white baby, and he got the yellow, the brown, and the white. I'm the brown baby. Not very brown, am I? Kind of really Anglo-Saxon brown type of thing. But anyways, you want to make a rainbow family? I'm also on that kind of wavelength. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to mix and match cultures and things. It took me a long time to understand it, but well, Om Namo Shivaya is the official prayer that I say before I eat, and I always say it either in my head or in my heart, my head, before I put a morsel in my mouth. Om Namo Shivaya. We give thanks to Lord Shiva. You don't really give him thanks for food, though. You give him thanks for getting rid of food, I guess, destroying the universe and all that stuff. But it's acceptable in my philosophy. Good appetit. Not bad at all. Now, let's go over here for the children's meal. We got the potatoes cut, ready to go in the oil. We got this this poor piece of celery that I went to put in the garden, I think. We're just going to take a few little chunks out of that to fry with the soy. And we're going to fry the soy in one of the pans that is over there, so I had to clean the pan first. And that soy will be more than ready to make soy tacos and stuff. My sister gives soy a much better taste than I do, so I may actually let her do the soy, and I'll try to film her incognito, and just do the potatoes when they get here. I'll start cooking the potatoes the moment they get here because I want them to be hot when I put them out. And there's no sense in cooking the potatoes before they get here because that way they would be cold. And I've already eaten a couple of tacos, so I think until they get here, this is the end of this show. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next Cooking with the Octopus.